So it's day one of Charlie boot camp, and it's going to be a bit boring to start with because he's been off for about 3 months now. He's literally not left the field for 3 months. Neither of any of mine really, apart from Dusty once. But I thought I would use this video the first few weeks where not much is going to be happening, showing you how I would bring them back into work. So obviously Charlie he won't have lost that little bit of base fitness that he had from the autumn over those 3 months. Obviously mine live out as well, so they've got quite a big field that the three of them are in, Charlie's little bunch. So they do have quite a bit of walking to do, you know, the water's down at the yard, they spend a lot of time up in the top field, so they're probably a bit fitter than horses that might just be in like an acre patch, especially on their own, not really moving around a lot. But what we're going to go and do today is we're just going to go and do an in-hand walk. It's about 4.5, 5k, so it'll take about an hour, and we'll just plod along. Oi! And then we'll go through the rest of the week as we get there. A bit scary. Steady. Good boy. Right, so we're off the main track now. We're on a little country road. So some of you are probably thinking, why aren't you just riding him? Why are you walking him out in hand? Well, there's a few reasons. Firstly, he hasn't had anyone on his back for 3 months, so with my extra weight on him, obviously, okay, I'm not heavy for him, but it's still gonna make him have to put extra effort in, and got the potential to tire quicker, and potentially, you know, probably not, but potentially he could hurt himself. It's very unlikely, but you know. Secondly, so he's not left his friends for 3 months. He doesn't hack very well. Well, he's not very confident hacking on his own anyway. So me being on the ground gives him a little bit extra confidence that he's not going to get eaten. You know, it means we'll have a more positive time. It's been a little bit spooky coming down already. I forgot it was bin day, so all the recycling bins are out, and it's windy, so they're blowing. So we had a little look at them, and some horses have just frightened him as well. But me being on the ground, he's kind of kept his calm a little bit better and calmed down quicker. And thirdly, not that I'm pushed for time today, but other days it's quite convenient at the moment to just chuck a head collar on him, grab him out the field and go for a walk, and then chuck him back out. So if you are a little bit pushed for time, doing this is better than doing nothing. So we'll do this route today. We'll do this route today. I may even do the same with him tomorrow, but I might put his saddle on so he's got a little bit of weight on there, and we will just go from there. See, it's been now a week since I posted the trailer, and that was the week that we had all the floods, and the fields have been very saturated, the roads have been very wet. It's been very windy. It's just not been ideal weather to do anything in, especially on a spooky-ish pony. So we've now actually only got 10 weeks until the first competition. So we'll have a nice little jaunt, and then I'll probably see you back at home. So it is Thursday, so it's day 4 of Charlie boot camp. So you saw us walk out in hand on Monday. I lunged him then Tuesday because the hunt was out. I could hear them, they were just down the road. so it's not worth trying to walk him out in hand again. I didn't manage to get anything done with him yesterday, but today I finally remembered to bring the new saddle up to try on him. So part of obviously bringing your horses back into work, you need to check that their tack still fits. So obviously he's only been off for 3 months, so in theory he shouldn't have changed shape too much, but then at the same time obviously we're into the winter now, the grazing has changed, the seasons have changed, so they do change shape. But this is a new saddle, new to us saddle. So he does have a flat and hacking saddle that I also need to check still fits, but I wanted something that I felt more comfortable to jump him in, and maybe even to do a bit faster work with him. I still to try it on him, so that's going to be my job today. If it looks okay, I am going to take him for another walk in hand, but with his gear on. So I'm going to go grab him in and we shall see if, fingers crossed, it fits him. Actually quite pleasantly surprised. I thought it was going to be a bit long. It is just on his last rib, so any bigger and it would have been a no-go. I'm amazed I've got a girth to fit him, to be honest. As far as a static fit goes, I'm quite pleasantly surprised. I thought it might be a bit narrow, but it's not too bad. So obviously I can't tell until I'm then riding it for definite. Whenever you have a saddler out, they should 100% every time also watch you ride, because a moving fit is different to a static fit. I'm not going to go into that. So as far as walking around in hand goes, I'm more than happy to try. I need to get a bigger numner because this is a pony size one and it's just a little bit on the small side. See here, there's not quite enough space and I only just got it stuffed in there. So I do have some bigger ones, so I need to find one. Or maybe just buy him a new one. But yeah, actually, I was really sceptical that it would fit, and I'd have to try and flog it and get my money back for it. So we're going to go for a plod now, and hopefully tomorrow or Saturday you will see me actually ride in it. Fingers crossed. So whilst we walk around the lovely countryside and do a little bit of schooling, I thought I would talk through my plans to bring Charlie back into work and all the way to that first Cotswold Cup competition in March. So for the first 4 weeks, including this week that you're watching, things will be quite slow and steady, just building up his and my fitness. So any schooling or groundwork sessions will be slow and steady and most likely only in walk and trot, but I'll be focusing on lots of lateral work and suppling work to make sure he's feeling nice and balanced and flexible before we even think about moving on to like any canter work or anything like that. I don't like to kind of over plan my schooling sessions because they'll kind of change depending on how the last session went or even just how he feels on that specific day. So basically his schooling sessions will be largely dictated by him. So if he needs more work on one specific thing, even though like it might have felt good the last session, then that's what we'll do. All the schooling I'm going to do with him is to benefit him in the long run, so not just say running through a dressage test because we have a competition on the weekend. Everything we do in between is because he needs to do it for him, not because I need to do it for a competition. If we end up doing a whole session just in walk because it's what he needs to do, then so be it. Ideally, I'd like to do one of each, so a flat and a groundwork session once a week, but they'll only be about 20 to 30 minutes long, so I'll probably do that on days where I don't have as much time to go for a hack. The groundwork might be a lunge, it could be a long rein, or maybe some in-hand work. Again, it will depend on what he needs at the time. So now for the hacking, I do have a bit more of an actual plan. So this is week 1 of 10 that we're watching, but we're just going to look at the first 4 weeks to start with. So ideally, I want to get out for a hack at least once a week, and I want those hacks to be a minimum of about 5 kilometres, so that's about an hour's walking for him. In-hand hacks count as well. They don't have to be all ridden, although I do want the majority of them to be under saddle from kind of week 2. Every hack that
that we do in those first 4 weeks will all be in walk. Okay, we might have to do the odd little trot for a car or something, but there'll be long, slow hacks using our big steep hills that we have here, which should help get his fitness up without kind of breaking him or me. My aim is to basically up the distance before the speed. So by the end of the 4th week, I want to be doing about an 8 kilometers hack, maybe even 10, depending on how we're going. So that would be going out for a couple of hours at a time then. So then we start looking at weeks 5 and 6. So I'll be wanting to do, say, 8 to 10 as a minimum now, but that's when we can start doing a bit of trot work. It'll only be a maximum of 5 minutes on the road. If we go to the woods or have some field work, then obviously we can do a bit more trot on the softer ground, but it'll still be mostly in walk. I've definitely learned from the endurance that slow and steady work with hills is one of the best ways to build up fitness and to keep them kind of sound through doing it as well. I know we're not aiming to actually do an endurance ride, but I think it's still a good way of doing that and building up that. So then week 7 to 10 will probably be very much the same. I'll try to maybe do twice a week hacking now, time dependent, and doing about 10 to 12 kilometers, keeping up the trot work, but I'll start adding in some canter work. I'll still only want to do 5 minutes trotting on the road, but I might start adding in the grass gallops that we have access to and doing some steady canter work on there. To be honest, I just want to know that he can kind of maintain a canter for a few minutes, because that's what he'll need to do, and that he's not going to be stupid in an open space. Obviously, throughout all these weeks, the schooling is going to kind of progress as well, and I'll have rough aims, but ultimately it's not going to be as kind of structured as my hacking plans. And of course, like in between all of this, I'll hopefully be hiring out some venues. I need to get him to a few arena hires for some dressage and jumping practice and just a bit of general exposure. And there's a smallish competition at the start of March that I have in my diary for him. I kind of feel if we don't get to do that as a bit of a trial run, then we're probably not going to make it off church at the end of March, which admittedly isn't the end of the world, as there are more Cotswold Cup competitions later on, but that is the goal at the moment, so fingers crossed. And that kind of then wraps this video up quite nicely, and I hope that it's given a little bit of an insight into how I plan on bringing a horse back into work and preparing for a reasonably low level event. Basically all just slow and steady and keeping it nice and simple, not rushing him and going at kind of his pace. And if plans have to change, then plans have to change. Hopefully next time I see you with Charlie, we'll be at an arena hire and hopefully I don't die.